All right, I will say good morning. Let us begin. I want to thank our sponsors, our Talmud Torah sponsors for the month of Iyar. Yona Shushie Ehrenfeld in memory of Yona's grandfather, Yosef and Shmuel Aron. Marc Karstaedt in memory of his mother, Chana Bat Shraggai. A week of learning sponsor, the Kiwi family in honor of all of the men who helped to make the Shiva Minyanim in memory of Mr. Kiwi, Zichrono Livracha. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, all of the nishmas will have an aliyah, the families in Nechama. And Abossi, with that, let us begin. So we have a beautiful daf ahead of us today. Today's daf is Tes Vav 15. And we are picking up, I believe we left off on the bottom of Yudal Amud Beis, 14b, correct? Yeah, that is correct. My time with Abishal. So we'll see. Yeah, we left off 3 lines up from the bottom. So if you remember again, so we had a very interesting machlokes yesterday, really quite a fascinating machlokes about the order of the avoda in the Beis Hamikdash. So specifically, again, we were focused on the order of the Ketores and the menorah. Now remember again, this whole thing began because we have contradictory mishnayos. We have contradictory mishnayos. We at first thought we just had a contradiction between Yoma and Tamid, but it turns out that we even have a contradiction within Yoma itself about the proper order. So what we left off yesterday was with a machlokes Abishol and the Rabbanan. The machlokes went like this. According to the Rabbanan, but remember again, I also wanted to point out, I don't think I clarified this yesterday. There are 2 different parts to the avoda of the menorah, right? There's what's called hatava and hadlaka. Hatava is the preparation of the menorah, which was done in the morning, right? And remember again, that was the cleaning out of the residue ash from everything that had burnt in the menorah the night before. So in the morning you did the hatava, you cleaned it out and prepared the menorah to be kindled that day. But of course the menorah itself was not kindled until later on in the afternoon, right? As we're going to see, the menorah is actually the last avodah. It's the last thing done in the Beis Hamikdash. So the morning you have the hatava, preparation, and in the evening you have the hadlaka. What we're discussing over here, I will say, is the morning service of the menorah called the hatava, the preparation. So here's the machlokes, really fascinating. The Rabbanan hold that the way the hatava is conducted is the hatava split into 2 chalakim, 2 parts. First you arrange 5, and again I'm using the word candles, but of course you know I don't mean literally candles. But first you arrange 5 neros, then according to the Rabbanan, what do you do in the middle? Ketores, and then 2 more. And then 2 more candles. You arrange the remaining 2. But we'll say that's why according to the Rabbanan, there's no real contradiction. Sometimes the Mishnah will say that menorah comes before Ketores, and sometimes it'll say that Ketores comes before menorah. Because which one is right? They're both correct. Because right, there is part of the menorah that comes before Ketores, and there's part of there's Ketores that comes before part of menorah. So according to the Rabbanan, you have that 5-2 split. First arrange 5, then do the Ketores, then do the 2. Now, boss, and I remember, just keep in mind, we also saw in the sheet of the Rabbanan, that's going to come up again today, is not, even if you subscribe to the 5-2 model, not everyone agrees that what? That Ketores is the avoda that's done to split up the 5 and the 2. Some hold that, for example, it's going to be the Tamid that's done there. As we've referenced that yesterday, we'll see that again today. That's the sheet of the Rabbanan. Abishol holds that no, that's not how it works. Abishol holds that halacha l'maisa, the entire menorah is arranged before the ketores is offered. So we'll say that is the fundamental machlokes that we are dealing with right now. So it says the Gemara, my time with Abishol, what's Abishol's logic? Why does he say that the entire menorah is arranged before the avodah of ketores? T'chsiv baboker be'tivos haneros v'hader yaktirena. So Abishol says, look, I'm just reading the psukim. And what do the psukim say? The psukim say, every morning you have to arrange the neros. And then it says, yaktirena. Then it says you offer up the ketores. So the psukim themselves are quite explicit. First, you go ahead and take care of the menorah, and then only afterwards do you go ahead and offer up the ketores. V'Rabbanan, my kamarachbana. So we'll say, how did the Rabbanan interpret that pasuk? Very simple, top of Tesvav. Be'idan hatava tehe makdir ketores. The Rabbanan say what it means is the Torah is giving you a time frame, and the Torah is telling you at the time that the menorah is arranged, that is when the ketores should be offered. So Rabbi see here what's happening over here according to the Rabbanon. Therefore, the Torah is not necessarily giving you a sequence. Rather, the Torah is giving you a chronological framework. And the chronological, so it's fascinating. They're both reading the same psukim. And yet the Rabbanan understand over here almost like a linear sequence. First you have to go ahead and take care of the menorah, Abba Shaul says, and then you do the ketores. The Rabbanan is saying, no. It's just telling you that the morning ketores is offered at the time in which you arrange the menorah. But again, according to the Rabban, you can have the 5-2 split. Dilo temachi, because if you don't read it like this, if you don't understand that the pasuk is just giving you a general time frame, bein ha'arbaim. Now, also, let's jump to the afternoon, because also remember again, you have menorah and ketores in the morning, and you have menorah and ketores in the afternoon. Now, ketores is the same morning and afternoon, right? Both times you burn ketores. Menorah is different, right? Morning, the menorah is being cleaned and arranged for that day's hadlaka. Afternoon, what's happening? It's being kindled. Okay, so now watch this. Now we're switching to the afternoon. The Gemara says, the pasuk says, and when Aaron will go ahead and literally kindle the candles, yaktirena. The Rabbi say yaktirena refers to ketores. Now the Torah over here is discussing hadlok and ketores. I will say, so watch what the Rabban. This is incredible. Look what the Rabban said to Abba Shaul. See, Abba Shaul, every single time you read these psukim, Abba say, remember, the machlokes over here is almost like in how you analyze the pasuk. So Abba Shaul understands that when the Torah speaks about multiple events, the Torah is giving you what we'll call a linear chronology, right? This. So Abba Shaul, so again, going back, Abba Shaul says, when the pasuk says, Baboker, beheti v'esaneros, v'hadar yaktirena, so the pasuk is telling you, first you light the menorah, then you offer the ketores. The Rabbanan say to Abba Shaul, I'm going to tell you why you can't read the psukim that way. Let's take a look at the afternoon. What does the Torah say? Ubalos Aaron esaneros ben arbaim yaktirena. When Aaron kindles the menorah, you will offer the ketores. So I will say, if you were to read that pasuk like the Rabbanan would analyze it, what's the order of service in the afternoon? Menorah, and then ketores. It can't be. Hachinami dibreisha madlik neros v'adar maktir ketores. So the Rabbanan say to Abba Shaul, are you going to tell me that first you light the menorah and then you offer the ketores in the afternoon? Maybe you'll say, yeah, that's how it works. That's false. V'atanya, we learned, me'erev ad boker, tein la midasa shetei dolekes v'olechas kol halayla me'erev v'ad boker. Shabbos say, interestingly enough, the Torah, when it speaks about the menorah, says that you should go ahead and kindle the menorah, me'erev ad boker, from the evening until the morning. So we dash in two things from that. Number one, that you have to place enough oil in the menorah to allow it to remain lit from the morning through the evening. That's number one. And there's also something else. Davar acher. Me'erev ad boker. Ein lecha avoda shekshera me'erev ad boker ela zu bilvad. Furthermore, Rabbi Said also teaches us there's only one avoda that is kosher from the evening until the morning, and this is it. Which Rabbi Said tells you that the menorah is the last avoda that is done during the day. The way you close out the day of sacrificial service is with or Beis HaMikdash service, I'll call it, is with the kindling of the menorah. Shabbos says, so the Rabbanan say to Abba Shaul, you're right, when you read this pasuk that we just quoted before, Ubalos Aaron esaneros ben arbaim yaktirena, you might be tempted to read it as saying, first Aaron will light the menorah, then I'll offer the ketores. But it can't be read that way, because that sounds like the ketores is the last thing you do, and in fact that is not correct. The last thing we do in the Beis HaMikdash every single day is the kindling of the menorah. So I want to say like this. So once, therefore, you understand that when the pasuk writes like this, the pasuk is not necessarily giving you a linear chronology, but instead is telling you that certain things have to happen during certain time frames. So I will say, so for example, how do you read the pasuk? Ubalos Aaron esaneros ben arbaim yaktirena. How do you read that pasuk? The way you read it is that the ketores should be offered during the time that Aaron is kindling the menorah in the afternoon. It doesn't mean that the ketores is kindled after or offered after Aaron kindles the menorah, but rather it means the time frame. Time frame then I could go back to the morning as well. This is the Rabbanan's understanding. Now I understand also that even in the morning, even the Torah discusses the kindling of the menorah, or I should say the hatava, the arrangement of the menorah, before the offering of the ketoras in the morning. Lav Dafka is coming to say that the entire arrangement of the menorah precedes the ketoras, but rather what it's saying is that the ketoras has to happen at the time that the menorah is being arranged. Interestingly enough, you see this incredible linkage between the ketoras and the menorah, right? Both in the morning as well as in the evening. Ella, my kam rachman, Sefer Rabbanan will say, so what is the Torah saying? Be'idon hadlaka te maktir ketoras. Rather, I will say in the afternoon. This is more explicit in the afternoon, because as we're going to see, everyone agrees that the last avoda of the day was the kindling of the menorah. Everyone agrees with that. So once everyone agrees with that, I understand that the pasuk is coming to clearly tell me what? Be'idan hadlaka te maktir ketoras. At the time when the hadlaka is being performed, that's the time that the Ketorah should be offered. So we'll say there's a time frame. There's a time frame for the kindling of the menorah. So at the time frame for the kindling of the menorah, that is when the Ketorah should be offered. Hachanami, we could therefore apply the same understanding to the morning as well, and to say Be'idan hatava te maktir Ketorah. So the same understanding will be applied to the morning, that at the time that you go ahead and arrange the menorah, that is when the ketores should be offered. And says the Gemara, Va'abashol, Amar Lacha, Shaini Hasam, Tichsiv also, Abashol will say, no, here's the difference, I'll say. The difference Abashol says is that in the afternoon, it says the word oso, right? Which again is much more specific. If you take a look at Rashi, Rashi says, Tichsiv oso, Kedeprishis Valkarchach, Ba'idon Hadlaka, te miktura kitoras ka'amar. Aval shachris b'seder mashma'o shel mikra seder avoda be'tiva v'hadir aktiana. So we'll say, interestingly enough, so Abishol says that when it comes to the afternoon hadlaka, the Torah uses the lashon of oso. So oso comes to be more specific, to teach you that in Achinami the Ketorah is just offered up during the general time frame of the hadlaka, but in the morning is coming to give you a direct order, or I should say a linear chronology. So the Gemara says, Rapapa Amar Lo Kasha. So we'll say so again. So this is our machlokes Abashal and the Rabbanan. Now we're jumping back for just a moment. So Rav Papa is coming back and discussing the idea. We had a machlokes in the Mishnayos in Yoma. What's coming first? Ketoras, right? I should say, does Ketoras come before Menorah? Does Menorah come before Ketoras? So Rav Papa says, it's not a contradiction. Lo kasha. If we take a look at Rashi again, Rav Papa lo kasha, Seder Yoma as Seder Yoma, Ba'tava shtei neros, hadisnan Ketoras bereisha, Rabbana, v'hadisnan neros bereisha abashal. So Rav Papa says, lo kasha, harabanan ha-abashal. So we'll say now, the beauty is, now that we know this machlokes, Abashal and the Rabbanan, the truth is, none of these Mishnayos really bother us that much, right? Or I should say, the contradiction doesn't bother us, because it's a machlokes, right? It's just a machlokes. Abashal holds that, I will say, and now, again, Abashal holds that halacha l'maisa, again, menorah comes before ketoras. To be clear, when are we talking about? In the morning. Right? This is all focused on the morning. So Abashal says, first we'll clean and arrange the menorah in the morning, and then afterwards we'll go ahead and we'll do ketoras. The Rabbanan have this 5-2 split. First we'll clean and arrange 5 neros, then do the ketoras, then do the remaining 2. So Rav Papa therefore says, there's no steer, there's no machlokes in the Mishnayos and Yoma. They simply reflect different opinions. But Mayu kim to lemas nisin dahacha. Shabbos said, let's analyze our Mishnah. Because Shabbos, remember again, how did this whole discussion start? This whole discussion started because our Mishnah on Yudalad Amud Aleph spoke about the idea that during the entire 7 days of sequestering of the Kohen Gadol, he would do all of the avodos in the Beis HaMikdash. And when going through the list of avodos, our Mishnah read, Maktir es ha-ketores umeitiv es haneros. Right? Our Mishnah said he offers the ketores and he arranges the menorah. So now the Gemara got very thrown by that order. So now again, whose opinion is reflected in our Mishnah? Kirabanan. Ultimately, again, our Mishnah reflects the view of the Rabbanan. Why did I say? Because remember, how do you understand that phrase that we do the ketores before the menorah? How do you understand it? We'll say what it means is you do 5 neros, then the ketores, and then the two remaining Neiros. That's what it means when it says that the Ketores comes before the Neiros. So our Mishnah will reflect the view of the Rabbanon. Okay, there was, and I watch this. Pious, here's the problem. The next Mishnah, or one of the, well, not the next Mishnah, but the Mishnah on Chav Hei is going to discuss the various lotteries that were drawn for the Avodos. So we're going to see in the next Mishnah, if you take a look at Rashi, Pious, Kabashol. The Rashi says, "The masnisin de payasos hashniyi parak sheni, diktani ketoras lebasov kabashol." But say, interestingly enough, in the Mishnah on Chav Hei, when it speaks about the drawing of the lots for the different avodos, when it talks about, so there was an order. So that Mishnah indicates that first they would draw the lot for the menorah and then the ketoras. So that one places menorah before ketoras, like Abashol. So you see what's happening over here? So you're going to tell me that this Mishnah on your Daled Amud Aleph is like the Rabbanon, the 5-2 split, but yet the Mishnah on Chav Hei reflects the view of Abashol, that first you arrange all 7 Neiros and then only afterwards do the Ketoras. So the Gemara says, Bayis Kabashol. And now again one more, Ima Seifa, and I will say again then there's going to be a subsequent Mishnah. This is a Mishnah on Lamed Aleph Amud Beis. So right, we've got Yud Daled Amud Aleph, we've got Chav Hei Amud Aleph and Lamed Aleph Amud Beis. Now, which I will follow this for just a moment. Yud Daled Amud Aleph is going to be like the Rabbanon. Chav Hei Amud Aleph is going to be like Abashol. And what about the Mishnah on Lamed Aleph? So watch this. Heviu lo es hatamid. So we'll say now this goes through the order of the Yom Kippur service. This is incredible. Heviu lo es hatamid. On Yom Kippur, they would bring the carbon tamid to the Kohen Gadol. Kartso, and I will say kartso means, if you look at Rashi, kartso, chatcho chatach bo hechsher shchita barav shnayim velo kulon. Lefi shetzarech atzmo lemaher velito mizrak lekabel adam shekalavodas yom kippurim ina kshera elabo. So we'll say this is really fascinating. We're going to see that what would happen is they would bring the tamid to the Kohen Gadol to shecht it. So shachta means he would shecht it. But remember from our chulin days, what do you need in order to affect a kosher shchita? You need rov shnayim. You have to cut the majority of the 2 simanim, the kana and the beshet, the windpipe and the esophagus. Now normally they would cut more, much more than just rov shnayim. They would cut everything. But on Yom Kippur, everything had to be done by the Kohen Gadol. So, which means that not only does the shechita have to be done by the Kohen Gadol, but what? The Kabbalah, the receiving of the blood. So the Kohen would essentially do the bare minimum of a kosher shechita, then catch the blood, and then someone else would finish up the rest of the shechita. So the Gemara says, Heviu lo es hatamid, kartso. So kartso means he would go ahead and do the shechita. Again, the basic, that the shechita to make it kosher. Umarak achar shechita yodel, then someone else would finish up the shechita. But say, I want to be clear. When it says someone else would finish up the shechita, just to be explicitly clear, what the Kohen Gadol did was a self-contained effective shechita. Right? It was, because remember again, one of the psulim of shechita, we'll say something called shihiyah. Shia means if you delay, in other words, we'll say if you go ahead and you start the shechita, and you say, time for lunch, I'm a union, time for lunch, we have to, and then you say, I'll get back to this later, the shechita is pasul, right? Why was it? Just interestingly enough, because what's the concern? The concern is that the animal then is going to move and end up ripping the simanim on its own, which would then invalidate the shechita. So when we say this, so the Kohen Gadol does a fully valid shechita. It's fully valid. Just someone else comes and finishes up the cutting. So watch this. Nichnas lahaktir sakitores. He then goes in to do the kitores and to arrange the menorah. So we'll say, what's the order over here? The order over here is kitores before menorah. So the Gemara says, Asa'an l'Rabbanan. Now both say, now understand something. Whenever we see something like this that says Ketores before the menorah, so we always understand this to mean 5-2 split with Ketores in the middle. So this goes like who? Asan Rabbanon. This goes going to Rabbanon. So you see what's happening over here? You see what's happening? Our Mishnah, Yudalad Amud Aleph, is going to be like the Rabbanon. Right? Then Chav Hei is going to be like Abashol, and then Lamed Aleph is again like the Rabbanon. What's going on over here? Reisha v'Sefer. So this is what the Gemara calls Reisha v'Sefer. So the Mishnah and Yudal, the Mishnah and Lamed Aleph both can be like the Rabbanon. V'Sefer. I'm sorry, Reisha v'Sefer Rabbanon. U'Mitziasa, the Mishnah and Chav Hei is going to be like Abashol. We'll say now in general, we don't like to arrange Mishnayos like that. Especially when you're talking about, this is all the same topic. Right? It's all the same topic of the order of the avoda. So you're going to put two mishnayos like the Rabbanon, one like Abba Shaul, or Rav Papa in Reisha v'Sefer Rabbanon and Mitzvah Abba Shaul. So Rav Papa says, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. So again, not an ideal setup for mishnayos, as we normally would prefer mishnayos to reflect one kind of coherent opinion, but nevertheless, that is the way the Gemara is going to be set up, or the Mishnah is going to be set up. Incredible. So Bishlam Abai lo Amakrat Papa. So I understand why Abai does not say that Rav Papa Reisha v'Sefer Rabbanon Mitzvah Saba Shalom Mokim Lo, because Abai doesn't like this idea of setting up out of three Mishnayos, two like the Rabbanon and one like Abba Shaul. Rav Papa, my time lo Amar Kabai. So why doesn't Rav Papa set up or try to reconcile the contradiction of Mishnayos like Abai did? Amar Lacha, Tana Bereisha Atavas Teineros, Vahadra Atavas Chavesh Neiros. Does the Tana Rabbi say, you see, again, we're reading into every single time a Mishnah says, first you do the Ketoras, and then we do the Atavas Neiros. We're reading into that. What that really means is, first you arrange 5, then you do the Ketoras, then you do the remaining 2. And it's called performing the Ketoras before the Menorah because you're performing the Ketoras before the remaining 2. But is that ever actually explicitly stated? And of course the answer is no. Therefore again, Rav Papa is not going to hold like Abaye. So Abaye Amar Lecha, Aruye ba'amu de kamori v'sidra ha'hadir tanile. The Mishnah is just giving you basic instructions, but ultimately, again, the specific order is mentioned later on. Okay? So the Gemara says, Gufa. So we'll say, now let's go back. So if you take a look at Rashi says, Abai Amar, so okay, we have to, it's good. So we'll say, that's the Machlokes, Abai and Rav Papa, in the actual interpretation of the stirus of the Mishnayos. So we'll say, we are still left with the machlokes between the Rabbanon and ultimately again Abba Shaul about how to go ahead and understand the order of the arrangement of the menorah. So we'll say, let's go with what everybody agrees with. What does everybody agree with? The afternoon. That's the beautiful part. Everyone agrees that first Ketoras was done and then menorah. So the afternoon is not a subject of machlokes, and that's because everyone is agreeing that the menorah is the final thing that you ended the avoda of the day with. Good. The machlokes is only the gabe, the morning. What was done in the morning? Hatava and Ketoras. Abba Shaul will say, first Hatava, arrange the menorah, all 7, and then you do the Ketoras. The Rabbanon ultimately, again, going for this 5-2 split. First arrange 5, then do the Ketoras, and then do the remaining 2 afterwards. The resolution of that machlokas Emir Tashem we'll see in tomorrow's daf. Gufa. So the Gemara says as follows. Well, so now we're kind of stepping back for a little bit, for just a moment, from Abba Shaul and the Rabbanon, and going back to focus on another interesting facet of sacrificial service that we brought up in yesterday's daf. So Gufa, we'll say this was the brisa from yesterday. Bolo, so we'll say this was talking about the blood applications on the Mizbeach. Bolo, the Karen, Mizrachis, Tzifonis, when the Kohen came to the northeast corner, no sin Mizrachis Tzifonis. He would sprinkle blood on the northeast corner. Ma'aravis Deromis, then he go to the southeast corner, or southwest corner, no sin Ma'aravis Deromis. He would go ahead and sprinkle blood on the southwest corner. But Tani Allah, let's remember again, this was the beginning of Amud Beis yesterday. And again, about this, Rabbi Shimon Ish HaMitzpah, Mishana, B'tamid. He would go ahead and he changed the order of blood applications by the carbon tamid. And what did he say? Balo lekaren mizrachis tzifonis. If the Kohen came to the northeast corner, so what happens? No same mizrachis tzifonis. He would apply the blood on the northeast corner. Ma'aravis deromis. When he came to the southwest corner, Rabbi say, here's what Reb Shimon Ish HaMitzpah changed. Right? Rabbi remember again, according to the previous opinion, when the Kohen came to the southwest corner, he would sprinkle on the southwest corner. Rabbi say, this is what is called about a one application that's 2. What is one application that's 2? You'll simultaneously again essentially sprinkle on 2 corners. So you're getting essentially 2 sprinklings in one. Reb Shimon Ish HaMitzpah argues on this. He agrees in the northeast corner that you go ahead and you sprinkle on the northeast corner. When it comes to the southwest corner, he has a different idea as to how you sprinkle. He says what happens. So it's Ma'aravis Durom is southwest. No sin Ma'arava. First you do the blood application on the western corner. Ve'achar kach no sin Droma. Then you go ahead and you do it on the southern corner. My time. So we'll say, what's the reason for this? My time is Reb Shimon, Isha Mitzvah. Am Reb Yochanan, Mishum Chad Debei Reb Yanai, Amar Kra, V'useir Izim Echad Lechatas LaHashem, Al Olas HaTomed Ya'aseh V'niska. So we'll say, interesting enough, by the Kriya by Rosh Chodesh, so the Torah says, you will offer up a Seir Izim, right? One Seir, one goat, for a Chatas LaHashem, Al Olas HaTomed. So we'll say, so this is a reference ultimately, again, to the carbon tamid that's being offered up. But yet, interestingly enough, the Torah says that the carbon tamid, remember, the tamid was an olah, which means it was fully burnt on the mizbeach. Yet the Torah also calls it a chatos. So what's going on over here, right? There seems to be a little bit of carbonic identity ambiguity here. Is it a chatos or is it an olah? So the Torah says, so the Gemara darshans, this is incredible. So Allah Tam Yasevin, let's go. Olahi, it's an olah. Because remember again, it's carbon tamid, it's offered up as an olah. V'amrachmana avid ba maisechatos. But the Torah says, treat it like a chatos. So it's going to be an olah that's treated like a chatos. Take a look at Rashi for just a moment. Rashi says, it's actually right across in Rashi. L'chatos la'Hashem ala olas hatamid, maisechatos al olas hatamid. So we'll say, so the Torah is telling me something fascinating. We'll say, this is incredible. Torah is telling me that on Rosh Chodesh, I want you to take the tamid, and I want you to treat it like a chata. So again, just so we understand our carbonic classifications. A carbon tamid is an olah, fully consumed on the mizbeach. Now generally, a chatas is what? A chatas is not fully consumed on the mizbeach. A chatas is partially consumed on the mizbeach, and then the other part is consumed by the kohanim. Somehow when it comes to the tamid being offered up on Rosh Chodesh, the Torah says, I want you to offer it up as an olah, but also treat it like a chatos. So again, finish that Rashi. Ma'aseh chatos al olas hatamid v'chatos tu'una pisuk matanos sheradama nitana arba kronos. So let's listen to this. Now, a chatos has blood application on all four corners of the mizbeach. Af olas hatamid yesh ba pisuk matanos lo shebitlu mena ma'aseh olah shari olahi ela shnei anogim. We'll say this is incredibly amazing. So the Torah, when it comes to the tamid on Rosh Chodesh, says it's an olah, but I want you to treat it like a chatas. Wherein lies the distinction between an olah and a chatas? So besides the fact that a chatas is consumed, part of it, by the kohanim, the other dramatic difference is in its blood applications. We're going to see the chatas has a blood application on all four corners. The olah does not. So now watch the Gemara. Keitzad. So we'll say, how do you go ahead and treat the tamid, which is an olah, like a chatas? Ha keitzad. Nosin acha shishtayim k'maisa olah. You're going to do one blood application, which is two. That's in the Karstaedt that we'll say, what does it mean? That's what I mentioned to you before. What does it mean when we say one blood application, which is two? That's when the Torah says the Kohen goes to the northeast corner and he sprinkles. See, he's doing one sprinkling, but it's going on the northeast corner. When you do one sprinkling on the northeast corner, how many corners are you getting in that sprinkling? Two. So the idea is that, but yet it's one act of hazah, it's one act of sprinkling. So that's what we call achos shehi shtayim, one that's two. So when it comes to an olah, one that's two is good enough, right? We got on the northeast corner, we got on the southwest corner, and we're good to go. We're done. So the Gemara says, however, no se achos shehi shtayim k'maisa olah, shtayim shein shtayim k'maisa chatos. But you're going to have to do two that are two. What are two that are two? Literally, again, two acts of sprinkling like a chatos. But we'll say first wide line. I belitein shtayim shein arba k'maisa olah. So why don't you go ahead and do two that are four like an olah? The arba shein arba k'maisa chatos, and four that are four like a chatos. In other words, if you're telling me that you essentially have to treat the olah like a chatos, so just do all the sprinklings necessary for an olah. And then subsequently, all the sprinklings necessary for a chatos. Just do, right? First do two or one which are two. That'll satisfy, again, northeast corner, southwest corner. That'll take care of your olah. And then do four independent applications for the chatos. To which the Gemara says, Lo matzinu dam shemechaprin b'chol mechaprin. No, because we don't find a situation like this, so I'll say, where you do two repetitive acts of sprinkling for two different forms of atonement. I was supposed to say, to go ahead and do two two ones which are two, if that made sense, right? Two sprinklings, one on the northeast corner, one on the southwest corner. That's your olah. And then afterwards do 4 more blood applications, individual blood applications on each of the corners for the chatas. That's repetitive acts of atonement sprinklings. We don't find that. To which the Gemara says, really? Yeah, and do we ever find a carbonic sprinkling where half of the sprinklings are done like a chatas and half of them are done like an olah, or is this whole case is an anomaly? To which the Gemara says, rather, Gemara say, just like we never see carbonically hazo sprinkling which are split. Some are done like an olah, some are done like a chatas. But again, here you have a unique situation because the Torah is telling you to treat your olah like a chatas. Hachanami ba'al karchan hikishan akasav. So to over here again, once we know that this is a little bit of a carbonic anomaly, and the Torah is telling me that I have to treat the chatas like an olah, maybe I should just first do the sprinklings of an olah, which are again northeast, southwest, and then afterwards do 4 more blood applications of achatos. Hasam pisuk matanos ba'almahi. Therefore, the Torah is just telling me I just need a separation of the matanos. Look at Rashi. Pisuk matanos ba'almahi. Hoilu shtein bekaren achas in kan hochachas ma'asechatos. So I will say, the easy way to take care of this is, since everything is happening again at the same corner, a slight deviation of separating out the hazos is not going to be so recognizable. Okay? So apparently, what we want to try to do over here is satisfy all of the carbonic criteria without making it too obvious that we are actually performing 2 different sets of blood services. V'nesiv achashi shtayim lamata k'maisa ola shtayim shein shtayim lamala k'maisa chatas. So why not go ahead and do 1 sprinkling, which is 2 below, on the lower part of the mizbeach, like an olah, and 2 sprinklings, which are 2, which means 2 independent sprinklings, above on the mizbeach, like a chatas. To which the Gemara says, in other words, that's a different way to differentiate. Now, not just the corners, but actually on the part of the mizbeach where you sprinkle. Lo matzinu damim shechatzi lamala v'chatzi lamata. We never find blood applications where some of them take place on a higher part, some of them take place on a lower part. So the Gemara says, "V'lo, is that true?" V'hatanan hiza mimeno achos lamala v'sheva lamata. So also going back to the avoda of Yom Kippur. If you take a look at the second Y line in Rashi, hiza mimeno lekamon beperek chamishi kishumaze midam apar keneged ove shal kapores. Kazar, that's supposed to listen to this. We're going to see when the Kohen Gadol goes ahead and sprinkles the blood of the par. This is one of the karbanos of Yom Kippur, and he sprinkles it opposite the lid of the Aron. So the way the Torah phrases it is achos lamala v'sheva lamata. Right? He does 1 sprinkling above, which sounds like on a higher part, and 7 sprinklings below. So that indicates that you do, even within 1 act of sprinkling, we will do sometimes some on a higher part of, in this case it's the Aron, but a higher part of the Mizbeach, low part of the Mizbeach, to which the Gemara says, no, kimatzlif. We will say when the Kohen Gadol does that sprinkling, he does it kimatzlif. My kimatzlif, what does it mean kimatzlif? Machi Rabbi Yehuda kimenagda, like what? Administering lashes. So we'll say everyone knows when you administer lashes, how do you administer lashes? Right? You whip a person, but you don't whip in the same spot. This, right, as Rashi points out, when basically when you administer lashes, you wouldn't whip someone because again, that just exacerbates the pain. Instead, you give a lash, and then the next one is a little bit lower, the next one is a little bit lower. So that's what it means. The Kohen Gadol didn't literally have in mind to go ahead and dafka do some above and some below, but just the nature of the sprinkling was that each one was done kind of like, at first he started with a little bit of a stronger stroke, right, which ultimately again put the blood a little bit higher, and then everything went subsequently a little bit lower. So the Gemara says, "V'lo v'hatanan hizamenu al tarosh mizbeach sheva pamim." He would go ahead and sprinkle al taro shal mizbeach 7 times. Mr. Gemara says, what's taro? So my lav apalgate the mizbeach. Shabbos say, does this not refer to the fact that he was dafka sprinkling at the midway point of the mizbeach? To which the Gemara says, Kida amri inshi tar tiara. But say, interesting enough, when people want to describe, apparently it used to be when people wanted to describe midday, they would call midday Tihar Tara. The day has become pure, which meant midday. Hupal Yoma. This refers to midday. Amra Barashila Lo, that refers to when we say Tara Mizbeach on the base, Agufe de Mizbeach. Rather, it means, I will say, on the top of the Mizbeach himself. That the, as I will say, again, the Gemara is just trying to understand, is there such a concept of doing within one blood application, doing some on a higher part, doing some on a lower part? To which the Gemara says, no. When we speak about Atir HaMizbeach, it means on the top of the altar itself. And again, because the pasuk says that, you will say a reference to Har Sinai. That ultimately, again, referring to the clarity of the heavens that they saw by Maimed Har Sinai. So too, again, it means the clarity of the Mizbeach, the top of the Mizbeach, which is easily seen. Fine. So therefore, we're back to what I mentioned before. So therefore, we'll say, when it comes again, we're focused over here. We're speaking about the carbon tamid on Rosh Chodesh, where the Torah tells me that the carbon tamid, which is, again, what type of carbon? An olah, also has to be offered up as a chatos. How in the world do you offer up a carbon olah as a chatos? Oh, so the Gemara says, I'll tell you how. It's all in the blood application. So what are we going to do? We'll say, first we're going to go ahead and we're going to do, we're going to go to the southeast corner, keep saying this, northeast corner, and then southwest corner. What Reb Shimon Ish HaMitzpah kind of added is that here's what we're going to do. You're going to go to the northeast corner. You're going to do your sprinkling there. One sprinkling on the northeast corner. Therefore, get north and east at once. When it comes to the southwest corner, what Reb Shimon Ish HaMitzpah posits is, what are you going to do? You're going to break them up. You're going to do one sprinkling on the south, one sprinkling on the west. Why? Because this way, you're treating it like the blood application of what? Of a chatos. Because as opposed to an olah, which is good with just two sprinklings, northeast, southwest, you get all four corners like that, you're good to go. The chatas would require blood sprinkling on all four corners. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to combine the blood avodos. You're going to do the northeast corner like an olah, and you're going to do the southwest corner like a chatas, doing a separate sprinkling on the south and on the west. Good. So the Gemara says as follows. So why is it, Abba say, that you first do the blood application of an olah and then only afterwards the chatas, right? First we're going to do the blood application of an olah. We're going to do the northeast corner, right? Two corners in one. And then only afterwards do we do the blood application of the chatas, the south and then the west. Why? The Gemara says, why not do the blood application first of the chatas and then do the olah afterwards? No, because we'll say at the end of the day, this is the carbon tamid. And because it's the carbon tamid, therefore what? Therefore it makes sense that the blood service of an olah, which is the essence of the tamid, be done before the chatas. Umayshna deyav mizrachis tzefonis uma'aravis duromis nesib duromis mizrachis v'hadar tzefonis ma'aravis. And furthermore, says the Gemara, why is it that you first go ahead and do the blood application on the northeast corner and then ultimately the southwest corner? Why not go ahead and do the southeast corner and then afterwards the northwest corner? So, Amri Ola Tu'una Yisod V'Keren. Because we'll say, interestingly enough, this is actually another fascinating idea. The Ola requires an additional blood application on the Yisod and on the Karen. So we'll say the Yisod was a base, like a ledge that ran by the base of the Mizbeach, and also requires blood application on a corner. So watch this. I'm sorry, Tuna Yisod. The Karen Derom, so we'll say, so again, that Yisod was again the ledge that ran by the base of the Mizbeach. The Karen Deromis Mizrachis, and interestingly enough, the southwest corner, the southwest area of the Mizbeach, lo havis le Yisod, did not have that ledge. So we'll say this bottom ledge, did not run, is ledge the right word? Not a ledge by the top, but a ledge by the base. The ledge did not go all the way around the Mizbeach. Rather, again, so therefore the southwest corner did not have the ledge. The northeast corner did have a ledge. That's why, again, when the Kohen would begin with the blood applications for the Olah, he would begin in the northeast corner, because that would allow him to apply the blood both on the Keren, on the horn, on the top, and also by the Yisod. Why is it that the blood application of Osei first happens in the southwest corner? And then, Sorry. Why is it that it happens first by the northeast corner? Why not first go to the southwest corner, then to the northeast corner? So we'll say ultimately again, because Mar said, we learned that we'll say in general in life, when you go ahead and you have to turn somewhere, you always go to the right and to the east first. So remember again, this is in general, we see this in many areas of halacha, that the right always has dominance, right? The right always has an importance in halacha. Yimincha Hashem ne'edari b'koach. The Yomin, the right, I'm a lefty, I keep raising my left hand, right? The right ultimately again has a chashivos, has an importance, and therefore again, when faced with a directional challenge, we tend to go ahead and turn right. Same idea with the east. East, right? Mizrach always has a dominance as well. So therefore, again, when choosing which direction to start with, we'll start with the right, we'll start with the east. Umimai, diba'olu dika'amar rachmana, avid be'mai sechatos, v'dilma b'chantos hu dika'amar rachmana, avid be'mai se'ola. Furthermore, it says in the Gemara, how do you know that the Torah is telling you that this carbon, which is an ola, we would like you to treat it like a chatos? Maybe the Torah is telling you this is really a chatos and you should treat it like an ola. Lo sakadaitra dichsev al olas hatamid yaseh v'nisko. The Torah says explicitly that this is the olas hatamid. Really, the essence of this carbon is atamid. It's an ola, olas hatamid, and therefore, again, halacha l'maisa, this carbon which is an olas tamid, you should still treat it like a chatos, i.e., with the blood applications. So the Gemara says, "Alos yaseh v'nisko, my kamar achmano, midi dechatos shadia ola." The Gemara is saying, rather go ahead and take this carbon which is in its essence an ola, and apply to it some of the details regarding a chatos. Incredible. So we'll say, we'll just spend 1 minute on this next piece. So we'll say that ends this particular discussion. So we'll say, remember, the only reason we got into this is because Reb Shimon Ish HaMitzpah was brought up yesterday when contrasting our Mishnah with the Mishnah in Meseches Tamid about the order of menorah and ketores. All the Gemara just did over here is said this interesting Shimon Ish HaMitzpah speaking to us regarding the carbon Tamid on Rosh Chodesh, which was unique in that although it's an olah, it was treated like a chatos. How was it treated like a chatos? Essentially, you had the blood applications of chatos and olah combined together. Both say a unique carbon. No other, I don't think, any other carbon situation like this exists where you have a merging of blood avodos. Both the blood avoda of an olah as well as the blood avoda of a chatas. So it's not awesome. But we'll stop over here. We'll pick up a minute. We'll say incredible Gemara tomorrow. We're going to get into the actual chambers of the Beis Hamikdash, trying to figure out where everything was and what everything was used for. Shkayach, we'll say. I could do it.